Welcome back, everybody, from the rest hold. It's time for us to get into our main event for this edition of Smack Talk, which is going to be the mailbag questions that you guys submitted for August. We're not going to tackle every single one that you guys submitted. Some of those are going to be just on the website. We're going to pick and choose a couple of the things here to talk about. Some of them just not going to be a whole lot of conversation and stuff, so just push those aside a little bit. But we're going to get to most of them from a couple different people that had sent them in, and we're going to start things off with Silent Wind of Doom. He has a question. Watching Raw right now, Enzo referred to Jericho and Owens as Jericho, that kind of thing. That's got a nice ring to it. Besides the obviously superior FaBreeze, what other pairings, existing or imagined by you, could you come up with cool names for? Anybody have any that stands out?
Yeah, I got one.
Shoot.
So you can put together Dolph Ziggler and Fandango to make Dolphin.
I had the same thing, but Dolph Ziggler and Finn Balor for
Dolphin. Yes, damn it.
First one that came to my mind was if Curtis Axel was still doing that perfect gimmick, and you put him with Ty Dillinger, perfect 10. Makes a lot of sense. You got Curtis Axel and Mandy Rose, Axel Rose. It's a little bit of a stretch, but if you put Bo Dallas with Braun Strowman, Strong Bowman, it's just something that makes me laugh, even though it's sort of not.
I was actually on my list and I crossed it off. I was like, no, that's too stupid. I'm not going to read that on air. And then you fucking say it.
Strong Bowman. All right. Well, at least we have two people that are interested in this. Let's see. I had a couple other things that were down here. Raleigh and Hawkins would be Rawkins. That sucks. Oh, these are my list of these things that aren't good. That's why. Cesaro and Cass.
Then let's skip them.
Casaro. Yeah. Although I actually do kind of like either Gargano or No Way Jose with Rhino. Rhino Way Jose, that kind of stuff. Ember Moon and Apollo Crews could be Apollo 13. I just want to do something based off of that. And the last thing that I have at the very least is if Aaliyah were with the Revival, they could be Aaliyah. Yeah. Oh, wait, no, I have one more. Cain and Gable. Wago, is there anything that you got?
I didn't read any of these questions because I didn't know if I was doing the show, and so I didn't have enough time to think of one, so nah.
Any other ones that you guys have, Peyton and Kaylin?
I'm sure I'll think of them when we're done recording.
If you do, leave them in the comments. Peyton, any more?
Oh, on that note, if you are fucking referencing a particular question, timestamp your shit.
That is true. Keep those timestamps going because we don't know out of, LOL, foot pun, and that kind of stuff. Let's move on here from, I'm going to botch this, I'm sure. Elvire Badrick? Good old Elvis. He says, do you think that Vince will be reluctant to give Finn another push after he recovers from his injury, or do you think Vince will label him injury-prone and leave him in the mid-card? Also, do you think anyone else will get the type of push Finn got, or will WWE be reluctant due to fear of injuries? You guys think that we're going to get some kind of a weird thing with Finn not being pushed anymore? Or are you kind of on the boat that I'm in, where he's going to get a push right to the main event as soon as he comes back?
They're going to build a story while he's gone of him rehabbing this, and they're going to milk this for every bit that they can. Are you kidding? They already invested in this guy being the first ever champion. They can't just push him by the wayside. That makes their championship seem less. If they wanted the guy that won that tournament to be the first champion to seem like it still means something, they have to have him jump right back into business once he gets back. And you know what? If it's with Kevin Owens, fantastic.
If he can come back in time, I'm thinking he's the Royal Rumble winner.
That's too cheesy. I'm over that. I've seen that enough times in my lifetime.
I wouldn't mind seeing it again just because of we've just had so many Royal Rumbles just go horribly, at least in terms of fan reaction, that I kind of just want the typical babyface wins a Royal Rumble and relives his and finally lives his dream at WrestleMania. But I don't know.
Finn's not the guy to do that, though. You know who the guy to do that with is?
Gable.
Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn's the guy you do that with. Because Finn already was champion. That's not living his dream. He already had the dream.
Yeah, but Sami Zayn's a fucking dirty vanilla midget.
Yes.
I'll put it this way. If he can come back in time, I totally would be up for him winning the Royal Rumble and challenging Kevin Owens for WrestleMania. if he's not able to win the Royal Rumble, I still would be up for him getting a title shot if they get somebody else to win the Royal Rumble from the SmackDown side and they do that kind of thing.
You think Owens makes it to Mania? I don't think they put fat people in the main event of Mania.
I don't think
I
that
hope
he
so.
will, but I'd be totally up for him doing that.
I think that storyline makes perfect sense because in NXT, with the NXT title, you had Kevin Owens, or I'm sorry, you had Finn Balor taking the title from Kevin Owens. And then for this Universal title, you had Finn dropping it and Kevin Owens picking it up immediately. So you have that history there and you can build that. And I think if he comes in and challenges him at Mania, that would be great. So I would actually like to see him win the Royal Rumble. I wouldn't put any money on it at this point. I think that's kind of a pipe dream. But he's definitely coming back and being in the main event picture because it's kind of like the Seth Rollins thing where he was gone for a while and they kind of followed him with the injury and he came back right away back in the main event. So I think they're going to do the same thing with Finn Balor.
Would you guys rather see Finn Balor versus Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens, or some kind of an outside option if they were going to keep that belt on Kevin Owens for WrestleMania?
I've been seeing some people hyping up Kevin Owens and Brock Lesnar.
I
I'd be
totally
down for
don't.
that.
want
Yeah,
that at
I saw some rumors about that. That would be cool.
They're cool with it as long as Brock does to Kevin Owens what he did to Randy Orton.
It'd be great if Kevin Owens did that to Brock instead. Just completely throws everybody for a loop.
You know, Kevin Owens' blood would probably taste better.
Well,
Yeah, probably a lot sweeter.
chocolate chip cookies.
But as far as Finn goes, I'd like to see him chase the belt a little bit rather than just get it back straight away. If they want to go the Royal Rumble route, I'm fine with that too. But I don't think you're going to see him get de-pushed. It was a freak incident. Shit happens.
They invested too much in him. It's not like a situation where he's been injured a bunch of different times. Like Wade Barrett, after a while, I could understand why they weren't really going to push him. And if the same thing were to happen with Finn Balor down the line, then maybe. But his first big thing, and then he gets injured, just a total fluke. So, who knows? This might end up being a situation where he's going to be out even longer. And if he's out even longer, then maybe they are going to be. Maybe he's going to be back sooner, and they're just going to push him in the main event. I don't know. We'll see in a couple months. Let's move to Peter's set of questions. First off, how are you today? How you guys doing today?
I'm okay.
Don't fucking do small talk.
None of your fucking business.
He also asks if we're going to use SpeakPipe and anything in the future. I have no plans on using it. Peyton, are you going to incorporate that into Twitch or anything?
I mean, SpeakPipe's always an option. No one ever uses it. I have the email, and I haven't seen anyone use it in months.
Well, is there a way that you can do that through Twitch? I don't know for sure. I never did Twitch on my own.
I could probably put a link somewhere down there, but it's not imperative. I don't really want to hear most of your voices anyway.
Twitch is very interactive as it is already. It's not like a needed avenue.
He asked if I could give him a copyright strike update. I fucking got those people to undo them. I won that battle. He also asks, though, how did Drew's Kidnapper's Court go? Do you guys know what this is a reference to?
I think Cliff Clefton is on that case.
I don't know, but Drew ain't here, so whatever the kidnappers did, good job.
No, guys, I'm still kidnapped. Yeah, I
Too
don't
close to
remember
the
what that
kidnapping
was a
guy.
reference to. Peter, leave a comment below and tell us what that was a reference to, because I totally don't remember what that was.
And timestamp it.
Yeah, timestamp it as well. He asks us, what do we think of the brand split commentary teams? And we have a little bit of a switch up. JBL was on Raw before, now he's on SmackDown. We got a little bit of time for people to get into their grooves and stuff. For those who, for some reason, don't know and still want to be updated on what's going on, SmackDown has JBL, Mauro Ranallo, and David Otunga, and Raw has Corey Graves, Byron Saxton, and Michael Cole. You guys have any favorites between those?
It's a bit of a weird scenario. It's I think the best announcer that they have altogether is Mauro Ranallo, but his team fucking sucks. JBL's become the drizzling shits over the years, and that's become even more apparent on SmackDown. I don't know who thought giving David Otunga the opportunity was smart. He's terrible too.
He is the worst.
Corey Graves, he's actually better with Michael Cole than he ever was on NXT. It's a great improvement from him. Michael Cole works very well. His game has improved significantly since not having to deal with either Jerry Lawler's shitty jokes, he doesn't have to deal with JBL screaming, and he doesn't have to deal with Booker going, all the fucking time. So Michael Cole's game's improved too. If you can get rid of David Otunga, if you can get rid of Byron Saxton, you can get rid of JBL and find different people to swap them out of, you'll have some really good teams. But Right now, it's overall improved, but there's still definitely weak areas.
See, I don't think Otunga has anywhere to go, but even worse. He's got to go. And I'm not liking Mauro Ranallo with JBL because it doesn't seem like they have that much of a chemistry together. Sort of the same thing with, like, I like Corey Graves with Tom Phillips more than anybody else. And Byron's just weird. I mean, Byron's Byron. But if I have to go between my favorite of the two teams, I mean, it sucks that I can't pick the Cruiserweight Classic because Daniel Bryan and Mauro Ranallo are actually pretty good together. You guys been checking that out?
Yeah, they've been a great team.
Mhm.
I disagree. I can't stand Daniel Bryan on commentary.
Really?
He's
Why not?
such a fucking mark. And not in like a cool way. Like it's an annoying way. He's the type of guy that if I had someone over while wrestling was on and they heard him talking, I would feel embarrassed. I can't stand listening to him talk. And he's the opposite of what a lot of people complain about Michael Cole, where he doesn't call moves, which Michael Cole has actually drastically improved on. If you've been listening to Raw the last few weeks, he's been calling a lot more moves. Daniel Bryan calls every fucking thing, and he'll tell you how it has like 7 different names in different countries, to the point where it's actually distracting from the match.
I think the most distracting thing is when Mauro Ranallo goes into full cheese mode and he's like, "Holy macaroni" and shit.
Those are the best calls of the whole freaking thing. Are you kidding? One of my favorite the whole thing is when Kota Ibushi out of nowhere does a kick and he just goes, "Mamma mia!"
Oh, I hate it so much.
I love Mauro Ranallo when he gets excited because it actually adds some personality and some, I don't know, fucking life to the commentary.
Yeah, it's the modern day back out. That's what it is.
It's been so boring with Michael Cole. He's such a straight man. It's so lame. I like my wrestling to be a little hokey in some areas, and Morrow's that good mix of he's a real sports broadcaster, so he just brings something to the table that no one else does.
See, I don't mind I love the enthusiasm. I just don't like the Mamma Mia and the
best thing they can do is draft Cesaro to SmackDown and have the entire show of Morrow just calling uppercut parties.
I don't like the uppercut party thing either.
Fuck you.
It's like cheesy as all hell. Like that's what I would be embarrassed about if people are listening and they're like, "You're really listening to a guy say Mamma Mia when somebody gets hit and stuff," and I'd be like, "Well,
I just don't think you're understanding. There ain't no party like an uppercut party because an uppercut party don't stop."
It does when.
No, I agree with you, Tony. I think Mauro Ranallo is the best energy wise. He brings a good energy to it. But I agree with the cheesy comments. And Mike was relating it to the By God, and that's probably the closest thing these days, but it just doesn't have the same charm. To me, it seems forced. So,
and a bunch of guys in their fucking underwear.
Going to David Otunga. David Otunga is the only guy who can make Byron Saxton look interesting.
That's bad.
It's bad when he makes Byron look interesting. Corey Graves doing a good job. JBL, I could do with less of him. And Cole is just like so average and plain and vanilla and just not great, not terrible. He is getting a little better with calling the moves, but still room for improvement. But Mauro Ranallo, I would say, is probably my favorite of the 6. And overall, though, I would probably say if I had to split it between Raw or SmackDown, I'd probably say Raw has a better team overall.
What do you guys think about the fact that they don't have the commentary table ringside for Raw anymore? Does that throw you off, or do you like that better, or what?
The only thing I like is they always have these shots where they're all standing and you see the crowd behind them. Those shots always look great. Matter of fact, I miss like when you go back to the 80s and they used to have the commentary table way up in the crowd, like more around where they have like the pre-show tables when they do them. That always just looked fantastic. You just saw that sea of people behind them. Something about that just made the event seem bigger.
Maybe it was just Gorilla Monsoon.
I wish they'd done it the other way around, where SmackDown had it at the top of the stage, just for the sole reason that it gives more excuses for them to let Randy Orton do table bumps, and Randy Orton can't do table bumps.
Yes, that's what should they do with Money in the Bank? Should it be a dual brand pay-per-view, or should they just scrap it and put it on like WrestleMania's card or something like that? I'm saying needs to go dual brand, and this whole idea of the big 4, fuck it, make it the big 5. It doesn't need to be 4.
Get rid of Money in the Bank
entirely, even the just the match itself being put somewhere
for a couple of years. Sure, bring it back at WrestleMania. Should have never left Mania. If they're just gonna do a big fucking ladder match for the IC title, then what's the fucking point?
Yeah, it should have just stayed at Mania. It was nice on the calendar year to have it at Mania too, because WrestleMania was your cutoff point. Like you had to get that at WrestleMania, or that was where it, like having the calendar year end at Money in the Bank is just kind of an awkward time of the year to have it at. And then you have this awkward situation now. Like, do you have one or two? I do not want to see two Money in the Banks ever again. If they're gonna do it, do one. Do one where you have an inter-brand match with all people from both brands there, and only one winner gets it.
And take it back to 6 people.
Yes. 3 from each. There you go.
I'd be up for that. There's a lot of variety that you could do with it. I'd be up for having 2 again. I'd be up for... I mean, see, I don't know about moving it to WrestleMania, though, because there's got to be a lot of different things that are kind of switched around with the 2 brands this time. You got to have room for the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal and stuff. Like, I mean...
They're going to do a lot of matches anyway.
Make it 7 hours long. That's how you fucking do it.
Oh,
yeah, they already did that.
They're gonna have a ladder match for the fucking one of the mid-card titles anyway. Just make it the Money in the Bank match. If they're gonna do that match anyway, what's the point?
if they keep doing that match, then definitely.
You're basically just having a Money in the Bank ladder match with less stakes on the line.
And we like steaks.
Steak would be
Fucking
awesome
hell.
right now.
Could go for another steak.
Steaky.
You prick! Why did you have to say that?
Now we're all just sitting there thinking about steak.
All right, you guys want to take a steak break and be back here in like an hour?
Steak break. Let's see here. Is Rusev the greatest heel of all time because he got fans to cheer for Roman Reigns that one week? No, of course not. What qualifies you guys to be journalists? Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
When it's all said and done with you guys, will your kids be the new cast of Smack Talk, or will Tony's birds be? I had said in the thing, I think the crickets are going to take over instead. All right. What do you think of
Still doing this by the time I have kids, I've got problems.
Yeah. Well, my kids will
If
be
you
all
have
right.
kids, the world has problems.
Yeah, fucking ain't that right?
Peter wants to know, what do we think of the Gen 1 Alola forms from Pokemon Sun and Moon that have come out here? I assume that it's mostly going to be the 3 of us without Peyton included in there, but I do want to get Peyton's thoughts on this because you're not as much into Pokemon as we are.
Well,
overall.
let me tell you, the only thing that pisses me off more than Alola forms are TPS forms.
All right, at least you got in there somehow. Kayla, what do you think about the ones that we've got here? We got like Executor is you have a huge palm tree thing going on.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know. The new ones look cool. I'm not sure what kind of stats they got, but they look awesome. So some of them look kind of weird. The dark Meowth looks a little weird, but the Marowak that I'm seeing, Vulpix, Sandshrew, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be cool.
Wago, you got any favorites or least favorites out of them?
Just generally with Pokemon, the more versions that come out, the less and less I care about it. They just keep adding gimmicks, and it feels like a gimmick. It doesn't really change the cause of what happens in the game. So, I mean, there's a couple of forms that I like, and Ice Ninetales is kind of cool, but I just get more disinterested in the franchise each and every time, especially with Pokemon Go. It was so great at first, and they fucked it all up.
Yeah, nobody's playing it now. Real shame.
I am.
Yeah, you spent all that money on that new phone just for that stupid ass game.
Yeah, get this. Dumb motherfucker, but like finally got a smartphone in 2016 just to play Pokemon Go.
It does other stuff too.
All right.
I bet you bought a Virtual Boy too.
In 2016.
The Virtual Boy and the Virtual Boy and the Wii U are the only Nintendo systems I've never bought. Other than that, I've bought all the Nintendo systems.
All right, I just looked up that Alola Meowth. What the fuck?
Yeah, I
know,
like the idea that it's a dark one. It makes sense to have like a black cat thing, but I don't like what it looks like. And I really don't understand the Ghost Fire Marowak. Like, why?
It looks
kind of cool. Raichu looks kind of cool. The idea that it's a psychic instead of a fairy is kind of interesting. I love the Executor, though. I think that's such a weird concept, and the fact that it turns into a dragon somehow. Like maybe it's a dragon fruit thing. I don't know, but I kind of like it. I mean, it is what it is. It's a weird addition to this game, and if I had the system, I would play it. I'm sure, but I don't. So probably not going to play it. But I'll watch a playthrough or something like that. Maybe, I don't know. Can we write in Dwayne Johnston for president in this election? He's probably a better choice.
Is that Jim Johnston's brother?
I think Dwayne Johnson would look at all the country's problems and say, sick 'em.
Go Dogs.
I'm not going to take a question seriously just because you couldn't fucking spell Dwayne Johnson right.
All right, well, let's take this in a different direction then. If The Rock were running for president right now, you don't even know what his platform is or anything. It's just a matter of, do you vote for Pence and Trump, or do you vote for Kane and Clinton, or do you vote for The Rock? Maybe Mick Foley as his VP, Rock and Sock Connection.
Wait, The Rock and Kane are both going to be in the election?
It's got to be Kane. Would you guys vote for The Rock? Or would you vote for one of the other two sections?
You know, one person I've been dying to see get further into politics is Arnold Schwarzenegger. And The Rock is kind of like this generation's Arnold Schwarzenegger. So why not?
I'd vote for him, oddly enough. I don't want to vote for either of the people that we have for our choices right now.
You know what? The Rock is one of the most motivating motherfuckers I've ever seen in the world. Like, you ever just look at his freaking Instagram
stuff? Yeah.
It's intense.
He's like,
you
I just
look
filmed
there for
3
10
movies.
minutes, you feel like you're going to fucking take over the world.
He's like, I filmed 3 movies today, and I'm working out right now, and it's like 4 o'clock in the morning.
And then at the end of the day, he still like is going to eat some bomb-ass pizza and bang some fucking gorgeous women.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, the Rock is the fucking man.
Yo,
I
really
would
is.
vote for him for supreme leader of the world. I'd be totally down with that.
There's so many awesome things he could do running in the campaign too. Just imagine like the promos that he could cut. He could totally do one of those. You remember the segment he did where he just ripped Vicky Guerrero apart? He could so do that to Hillary Clinton.
I would actually watch the State of the Union address if he was sitting there coming out. He ended every single one of them with do you smell what The Rock is cooking?
And there's one moment that we could all enjoy. Him winning. Finally, The Rock has become... It'd be fucking epic.
Well, he ended up winning the second term, and it would be like, finally, The Rock is back home. Rock, you got 4 votes here at the very least. When the brand split happened, did you want to watch Superstars and Main Event? No, not at all. I still have no faith that those shows would ever be worth watching. You guys
Wait, are
watch
one
them?
of those shows brand specific now?
Well, they technically are, kind of.
They were
Superstars
for
is
a
just
while.
Raw, and Main Event is just SmackDown.
I still don't care.
Yeah, it's still like
Yeah.
it's still Curtis Axel losing to Jack Swagger every fucking week and stuff. So unless they change that, nope. Peter wants to know if we've tried or want to try the Bootio cereal.
Sure,
I don't
what a
have an
box.
FYE around me, and I'm not spending that much money on cereal.
Yeah, I eat it all the time. Oh, wait, we're talking about the cereal? Never mind, no.
I know Drew's probably tried it by now. Probably spent $60 on a box.
No, he bought the one that didn't have the cereal in the box.
I know, the motherfucker.
He bought the one that just had the box.
Yeah, because they didn't release the cereal yet. That was before they released the cereal. So he spent like the $35 or whatever on the fucking empty box.
It came with a T-shirt, I thought.
I don't
He
know.
said
but
he said he was going to throw the shirt away.
I
Yeah,
wanted the
right.
box. And then as soon as he got it, he went, I regret buying this. And we're all just like going, yeah,
Oh shit, we could have told you that 20 minutes ago.
we did. We laughed at him a lot. He still did it. Then we laughed at him again.
Oh, Drew. I'm curious to see what it tastes like, but I'm not going to spend the money on it. It's probably just like the worst part of Lucky Charms.
I will pull a Mick Foley where if I see someone next to me with a box of it open, I'm just going to reach my hand in there and take a nice big handful.
Oh,
But yeah, I'm
he
not
was,
paying the money for it.
he was going to town on them, wasn't
Yeah,
he?
you know what?
He was just kind of like, oh,
No
no,
shit.
fucking.
He's got like crumbs of it in his beard.
Yeah. This makes Santa happy. Do you still think the brand split was a bad idea? Yeah, still do. Still got a lot of potential though. I mean, I'm not going to rule it out, but I think that the fact that we've got these injuries and stuff just points to the flaws that we had with this. And if we get any more injuries and more suspensions, it's going to get worse and worse and worse. And eventually we're going to get to the point where they're going to have like nobody to work with. But there's a lot of positives that have come out of this. I think that the sets look great now. I'm warming up to the Raw logo a little bit more now that they've added some 3D texture and stuff to it. So that's another positive. The SmackDown logo I like. I like the fact that they've got a little bit more of a renewed energy to a couple different things, but I still think that they need to add a lot more people to these rosters, especially SmackDown. They really need some. But you guys on the fence of brand split being a good or bad idea yet? Do you have anything that you're warming up to more or anything like that?
I still like this a lot. There's some growing pains and some setbacks of people getting injured or whatever, but I don't think they're hurt all that bad. I think they have more than enough people to keep themselves covered. I mean, there's so many people that were drafted that we haven't even seen on TV yet. And there's people that they have waiting in the wings. There's old people they could call back at a moment's notice and have them appear. Like, do you think that they really had to, like, haggle to get the headbangers to come back on TV?
Imagine that discussion. So we'd like to have you. We're here.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't even discuss anything.
So I'm down with it. I love the new sets. I love the differentiation between the shows with the commentary teams. The shows just feel different again. And for so long, when they had that same fucking set, you know what I'm curious to see is what they do for pay-per-views. If they're just going to use that brand set, or if they're going to do something original for these pay-per-views, because fucking Backlash probably has my all-time favorite set of all time. And it doesn't seem like Backlash has that same theme with the hooks and everything, so I don't expect that.
Yeah.
But at least I'm hoping for something original. Just something that's tweaked enough to make it seem original every time. They're getting creative with these sets too, as far as like those big things they put around the ring corners. They're huge.
Those are cool. I like them.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? They're probably good for the wrestlers too, because that's much easier place to perch on top of if they want to do a jump off there.
Just a little bit more to get your balance.
Mm-hmm. You know, and I think we're going to see more opportunity for people to get better spots. I mean, look at how The Miz is the perfect example of someone who's taken full advantage of what's going on here and making a name for himself.
Wago, what do you think? Brand split, good, bad?
Going how I thought it would. They've had a few growing pains. I still think in 12
You got to
months'
repeat
time,
what everything Peyton said.
I think it's. Oh, did he say growing pains
Yeah,
exactly too? I think in 12 months it's going to suck dick. The biggest glaring issues that I had were if they introduce more titles, a lot of divisions are going to seem weaker, and that's already more apparent. Tag divisions, other than Heath Slater and Rhino being together, greatest decision they've made since the draft.
Team Beauty and Man Beast.
The tag divisions is kind of meh. SmackDown's women division's a fucking joke.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like it.
I think Raw's got the worst end right now.
Yeah, I think Raw was originally the better one, but now that like they threw it back on Charlotte, Sasha's out, I'm not really too interested in the Raw women's division. SmackDown, on the other hand, Naomi's got a new vigor. Carmella just turned. I think there's some cool things going on over there.
Well, what division on Raw? It's Charlotte and Bayley.
Beside the point, it echoes the same statement. There's one brand that's there's one division that sucks and one that sucks less. So yeah, I'm just like, that was the biggest issue that I had going into this, because I knew they'd want to introduce a shit ton of belts. I kind of just sucked it up when it came to the world title and just thought, all right, well, two world titles won't be the end of the world, but they did it with all the belts. So that's my biggest issue. We'll see how it is in 12 months. Maybe I'll eat my words, but I don't think so.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We're only 6 weeks in right now. So I don't think we've seen the full extent of where they're going to go with this. You know, there's still going to be some growing pains with this. But as far as the brand split goes, I'm still cautiously optimistic at this point. You know, I think there are, with all the injuries especially, there's going to be setbacks with the injuries and suspensions. But as you guys were saying, they're bringing up new people. They're returning other people. So I think there's a lot of room for it to grow. Now, whether or not in 6 months I'm going to feel the same, I don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see. But I do like how certain guys are getting more time than they would otherwise. So that's a good part.
You can't really see the full picture. They haven't even crowned all these champions yet. We have belts that are still vacated. So how can we even say that they're being watered down? We haven't even seen where these belts are being put on yet.
The tag finals are probably going to be American Alpha versus Heath Slater and Rhino. It's a weak division, dude.
That's a great match. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm looking forward to that match. I hope that's what the finals is.
I love Heath and Rhino as an act. I actually hope they win the fucking belts, but that tag division sucks.
Oh,
See,
seems fine to me, man.
I think the Raw tag division is another flaw kind of a thing, more so than anything else, because they have got 3 teams again. Like, it's Raw suddenly just took like a huge shot the past couple of weeks. I mean, we've got Enzo and Cass, but they're sort of doing their own thing separately as like singles people for the most part. The New Day and Gallows and Anderson. But Big Cass was just in the Fatal 4-Way. And Enzo was fighting separately and stuff. Like, they don't have a tag team that they're feuding with at the moment.
Enzo came out with Cass, though. It's not like they're completely separated.
No, they're not like a split tag team or anything, but like they don't have another tag team to feud with because the other people that we have are the Shining Stars and Golden Truth, and who gives a shit about them? Like, it sucks that the Dudley Boys went away because they could have been a really good asset for that. And I don't know. There's flaws.
I think another big thing we have to wait on is this cruiserweight division to see exactly where they go with this, because that could be a huge addition to it that's been sorely needed. So I'm looking forward to that.
And for the record, even though they have not even started this cruiserweight division yet, unless you count the Cruiserweight Classic, if we get to a point where they, a year from now, 2 years from now, they get rid of this brand split again, at that point, give the Cruiserweight division its own show or something. Could end up happening. It's proven itself to be really entertaining so far with Cruiserweight Classic, so that I see as being just a big positive, no matter what. I can't see that being a bad thing.
I couldn't see them branching that off just because they would want those stars on their main shows, right? That's where the money's going to be. I mean, Cruiserweight Classic is cool, but that show's not making any money. Let's be honest.
No, I mean, but there's also the possibility that maybe they could do something like where Superstars and Main Event kind of go away and they do something with like that extra hour or something,
I mean, how much work did it take him to make NXT a brand? If they try to make a 4th brand, I'm not going to say it's impossible. Well, that's what you're talking about here, making a cruiserweight brand, and that's going to be tough.
Isn't NXT basically a cruiserweight brand anyway?
Thought this mojo.
Well, and as far as the tag teams, they have a lot of tag teams that are in processing. They got the Authors of Pain who finally got names. They're not just ghostwriters anymore.
They're Toka and Raza, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I like the ghostwriters line. That was clever.
I don't know what Gargano and Ciampa their deal is going to be, because it seemed like from that commercial they had for when the cruiserweights are coming up, they might be separate, which is kind of unfortunate because I really like them as a tag team. But I understand they were singles guys for their entire career up to that point.
Here's the issue with them. Gargano I like as a singles competitor. I don't like Ciampa as a singles competitor.
You might after a while, though. Maybe he'll have like that Psycho Killer thing going on.
I did like him in that match they had against each other, though. He was actually the one I was rooting for.
Oh, you mean that match of the year? That's the best match ever.
What?
Seriously? Fucking Ciampa versus Gargano. Everybody said that was like match of the year.
No, they didn't. Everyone said that fucking Ibushi and Alexander match was match of the year.
Okay, I'm not shitting on those matches before we got, you fucking just can't appreciate it. You're always bitching. No, they was just not as good as I was, like, people made it out to be, so I was a little disappointed.
I like them both. It remains to be seen. And if you want to check out episode 1 of Growing Pains, maybe we'll end up doing a Smark Announce table for that. But our last 2 questions here, we're going to tie them in together. One of them is Sasha Banks injury prone? And the other one is, do you think that Seth Rollins is going to be looked at as somebody who injures people? Like an untrustworthy type of guy? Sasha Banks, maybe. I mean, I don't think so. She had one nagging injury that she didn't really take too much time off, and then it ended up getting worse. And she's not going to be taken off too much time. There's about the 20 days or so. Seth Rollins, I don't know about that. I think at the very least that powerbomb is going to be something that you shouldn't do anymore.
I will tell you, he's one more injury away from getting slapped with that title without doubt. There's still some question about it. I think people are perfectly logical to believe that he may be, but there's still, the jury still can be out on it. He hurts one more guy. I think it's done for him.
Well, there was Cena with the nose, which that I think is just a total fluke.
Cena with the nose, Sting with the back, and here's my issue.
Hurt himself.
John Cena with the nose. Totally get it. It was a freak accident, but it was his fault. Sting should have not been fucking wrestling.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, Sting should have
Triple H
been
fine.
Yeah, Sting should have been doing less.
Kurt Angle can wrestle, but he shouldn't wrestle. There's plenty of guys that can go, can still technically go in the ring, but they shouldn't. Sting's one of those guys. He was a fucking cripple. Can't even bend
Made a
his knee.
cripple because of Seth Rollins.
He couldn't bend his fucking knees for his finishing move. Dude's a cripple. Shouldn't be in the ring.
Now, when Roman Reigns was out for a while and he had some kind of nose injury or something, what was that from? That wasn't from Seth, was it?
No, that was
That's to
deviated
get bone
septum.
removed.
No, it was deviated septum. That's a hereditary thing.
Okay.
So was it just those two and Finn Balor then?
Yeah, and I advocate
himself.
that. Well, yeah,
Himself.
Well,
I think that was I don't know, that was a freak injury. I mean, they all are.
As far as the Finn thing, fucking hell, I can't say that. As far as the Finn injury goes, it's his fault. And like, I kind of blame Finn on that. He stuck his arm out.
He stuck his arm out so he didn't break his neck. Like, it's very simple.
Neck.
He was going to break his
on your
neck.
back. It wasn't.
That's how you're supposed to take the move, but that's not how Seth released him. He released him way too early, and if he had gone back, it would have broke his neck. Well, just go back and watch the angle. Just project the angle of where he's going. If he doesn't put that arm out to help himself ease up a bit, his neck goes right into the...
confident he would have landed flush against that barricade. Either way, I think this whole thing goes away for Seth. Remember AJ Styles? Oh, I can't use the Styles Clash. He's breaking everybody's neck. Oh, look, he's using the Styles Clash and nobody's dying.
What do you mean he's breaking everybody's neck? You mean he's breaking everybody's neck? Gotta say it that way if we're gonna say it.
You know what? If Bret Hart wasn't such a miserable fucking waste of human life, I don't think that this would be such an issue. But like, I hate it when fucking people speak out like that. If you've got an issue with the guy, fucking speak to him. The reason you're not going to is because you're a pussy.
I disagree, because he said the same thing about Samoa Joe, and people weren't getting on Joe. People understood the thing with Joe was a freak accident. Seth, this has been happening repeatedly.
Yeah, and people got onto AJ Styles too, and it blew over because everybody realized that everyone was just kind of being over the top about it.
See,
You can have a run of bad luck. I mean, fuck. There's only one guy in that company I actually consider unsafe, and it's Miz. For all that soft style shit, don't get caught by the Miz.
Oh, because that one time?
A lot more than one time, dude.
There was only one time with Kofi that he really missed.
Yeah, but like there's a running history of him just not catching guys, right? He did to R-Truth once, and there was somebody else.
See, I think the kind of the same thing that Peyton is that one more injury from Seth Rollins, and then you're really going to start to go, yeah, this dude's unsafe. Right now, there's a couple weird things that have happened in the process, and it's just kind of like maybe he's the unfortunate one that is that next opponent where people are like they've got one more match before their body's going to break down, that kind of a thing, and he just keeps getting that sort of spot. But I wouldn't put him in the same boat as some of the other people, and the same thing with Sasha Banks being injury prone. If she comes back at Clash of Champions or whenever she's supposed to come back, and she gets injured again by the end of 2016 or even by like summer next year, then I'm going to think that, yeah, she is injury prone.
Well, I'll tell you what was really cool from that situation is they were talking about Sasha Banks on the Raw pre-show, and they actually brought up the idea, is she injury prone? And you know who they used as the example of someone who was injury prone? Wade Barrett.
Really?
I mean,
They actually threw shade and dropped Wade Barrett's name as injury prone. I'm like, wow.
Wow.
I mean, that's fair. He was. Oh, fuck, it is fair. He is injury prone.
It's totally fair. I just couldn't believe they like threw shade like that.
It's different to say it when he's still on the roster, though. Like, this is just kind of like, yeah, he's injury prone and fuck him.
Well, I heard he's retired, so it's not really going to cause many harm at this point.
He's doing movies now or something, I think. I don't know. So, jury's out, I guess, on Sasha Banks. We'll see on that one. And
As long as nobody drops her on her fucking head again.
I will say this. If Seth does injure another guy, I will definitely reconsider my argument. But right now, I think it's just a bunch of circumstances that happened in a short space of time.
So let's say Seth does injure another guy. What do they do with him at that point? Do they demote him?
It depends by what situation. If he does it with that buckle bomb again, then the simple answer is get rid of the buckle bomb. The issue is when you start banning moves, I don't know if you guys remember that period of time where you couldn't do you couldn't do a shooting star press, you couldn't do a 450. There was a whole bunch of moves banned. Wrestling was boring for a fucking while.
I think it's the type of thing
to
where
that point.
I like what they did with the shooting star press, where they were like, if you prove to us that you can do it safe, then you can do it. And I mean, Seth Rollins, if he injures another person with that same move, he's proven that he can't do it safely.
Like, don't get me wrong, there's certain guys that shouldn't do certain moves. I mean, just take a look at Billy Kidman. That guy should never been doing shooting star to people, fucking dropping knees into people all the time. But, fuck. I don't know. If he hit someone with a buckle bomb again, sure, get rid of it. But I don't think demote him.
Say buckle bomb again. Wait, say
Buckle
it again.
bomb.
Oh, fuck off.
There's
You say it
another guy
really, really
here.
fast. It's interesting. You're like, buckle bomb.
If you go back to his curb stomp, he freaking hurt Brock Lesnar too. So there's another guy you could add to the list. That's one of the reasons they got rid of that move.
I thought they got rid of it because they didn't want kids imitating it.
I think it was a pile of circumstances.
I think they got rid of it because they watched American History X, and then they were like, ooh.
Has this been what we've been promoting?
To be fair, I'm shocked that fucking name ever got, approved.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
At the very least, we could agree Seth Rollins should never wrestle Sasha Banks, because if one of them's injury prone and the other one injures people, they're going to get fucked. But that's it for our mailbag questions. Make sure you guys leave your comments below and tell us what you think of these different ones. If you want to answer any of them, go ahead and do that. Just make sure you timestamp them, as we mentioned earlier. And start sending in your questions for next month, because we're going to be getting to that in a couple weeks. Not too sure exactly when, but by the end of September, we'll go through another set of questions. And that's going to be it for our main event, too. So the only thing left that we need to do is to just go through our plugs here and tell you guys what you should follow and all that other kind of stuff. So, Kaylin, what do you want to toss out?
You can follow me on the Twitter at Kalen Ferris. And remember, always, always, sick 'em.
Peyton, anything you want to toss out?
Not these mozzarella sticks, because they're incredible.
Oh, give me some.
My mozzarella sticks. Follow me on Twitch, where I play video games almost every night of the week at MRPADEN. Currently playing through The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD.
You still in the wind tunnel? Notice you didn't answer.
Yep.
I'm way past the wind tunnel.
And Wago, round us out.
All right, you can follow me on the Twitter at Stephen Wago. Stephen is spelled with a PH. Wago is WHEO. You can find all my updates going on there. Bada bing, bada boom. Back to you, Tony.
All right, guys, that's it for episode number 249. Next week is episode 250. Holy shit.
What?
So we are going to do our Backlash predictions for that episode. And then the week after that is going to be a good week where we don't actually have a main event set. And because it's going to be technically episode 251, and I might not actually continue numbering them after episode 250, a little bit more on that a little bit later on. I might do a big flurry of just a bunch of different content. I posted something on the Mega Maniacs for everybody if they want to throw out some suggestions for different things. Sporkle was one of them. Another mini tournament was going to be one. Possibly that Smark Announce table doing the final deletion. There's a lot of different options, and if you guys have anything else you want to suggest, go ahead and leave a comment on that thread there. And if you aren't on Mega Maniacs, why not? But if for some reason you're not, then you can just send me an email and do it that way, and anything else like that, then I'll try to take that all into consideration and do a whole bunch of different stuff that week. But next week, we got those Backlash predictions, so make sure that you stay tuned. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Check out smarkoutmoment.com. And I think that's it for this episode. So thank you all for listening, everybody. This has been another Smark Out Moment, and we're being counted out.